There is a certain kind of person who reads more than anyone they know, who thinks about ideas that others find exhausting, who lies awake questioning things everyone else accepts, and yet, despite all that thinking, they still feel stuck, still feel like something is missing, like they are doing it wrong somehow. Maybe you were the kid who asked why one too many times. Maybe you were the one who felt different, quieter, more internal than everyone around you. Maybe right now you are watching this because some part of you suspects there is more to thinking than what you have been doing. Here is the uncomfortable truth no one tells you. What most people call thinking is not thinking at all. It is just remembering what someone else said and repeating it back like an echo in an empty room. And the cruelest irony is that the people who care most about ideas are often the ones most trapped by this illusion. In 1956, a psychologist named Benjamin Bloom discovered that human cognition operates like a pyramid. 6 levels from basic memorization at the bottom to true creation at the top. His research found something disturbing. Despite having more information than any generation in history, 90% of people never climb past the first 2 steps. But here is what makes this different from everything else you have seen on this topic. I am not just going to explain the pyramid. I am going to show you the invisible forces keeping you trapped at the bottom. Forces even Bloom never fully understood. And by the end, you will know exactly which level you're operating at and how to climb higher than you thought possible. Imagine a pyramid, not made of stone, but made of thought itself. At the very bottom, you find the simplest form of cognition. As you climb higher, each level becomes narrower, more demanding, and far less crowded. But here is what nobody tells you. Each level requires a completely different relationship with your own mind. At the base sits level 1, remembering. You know this level intimately. This is you forwarding that article without reading past the headline. This is you scrolling through social media, absorbing fragments that vanish before you finish scrolling. Just storage and retrieval, like a hard drive that never gets organized. Level 2 is understanding. You can explain ideas in your own words. You grasp basic meaning, but here is where most people deceive themselves. You are still not creating anything new. You are just reorganizing furniture in a house someone else built. Most people who consider themselves intellectuals live their entire lives here, never realizing there are 4 more floors above. Level 3 is application. You take what you learned and solve simple problems. You apply formulas, execute strategies someone else designed. This is where most education stops. Schools reward application, workplaces reward application, but following instructions, no matter how complex, is not the same as thinking. Now pay close attention, because most people never reach what comes next. Level 4 is analysis. You take ideas apart like an engineer studying a machine. You identify patterns others walk right past. Maybe you were the kid who asked why one too many times. That instinct, the one that made you feel difficult and annoying, that was your mind trying to climb to level 4. Level 5 is evaluation. You form judgments and determine priorities. Given multiple truths, which matters most? This requires courage because it forces you to take a stance, knowing you might be wrong. Most people avoid this level because certainty feels safer than judgment. Level 6, creation, the rarest level. You synthesize everything into something genuinely new. A fresh idea, a perspective that did not exist before you thought it. Creators are not just smart. They are brave enough to offer something original to a world that often punishes originality. But here is what Bloom never stated. There is a level 7, a shadow level above the pyramid. Metacognition, the ability to think about your own thinking. to observe your biases and blind spots in real time. This is where thought becomes not just a tool but a mirror. Most of humanity is stuck at the first two levels, and the truly unsettling part is not that people cannot climb higher. It is that they do not even know higher levels exist. They believe they are thinking because information is passing through their minds. But that is like sitting in the passenger seat and believing you are driving. There is no conspiracy here. The real forces keeping us at the bottom are far more subtle. Ours, and once you see them, you cannot unsee them. The first force is evolution itself. Your brain was not designed for philosophy. It was designed for survival. Your brain is only 2% of your body weight, yet it consumes 20% of your energy. Every time you engage in higher cognition, you are doing something evolution never optimized for. You are burning precious calories on activities that provide no immediate survival benefit. Psychologists call this cognitive miserliness. Your brain prefers shortcuts and easy answers. The bottom of the pyramid feels comfortable because it relies on existing neural pathways, requires no restructuring of beliefs, no confrontation with uncomfortable truths. The higher levels require friction. They demand that you wrestle with conflicting information and challenge your identity. Evolution punishes you for this. Thinking deeply literally feels uncomfortable, like lifting heavy weight when your muscles are weak. And most people, when they feel that friction, stop. They think, I must not be smart enough. This is too complicated, I will trust someone else's explanation. But difficulty is the doorway. Discomfort is the signal you are rising into higher cognition. Most people turn around at the first sign of struggle, mistaking an uphill climb for a dead end. If you have ever caught yourself doing this, type 1 in the comments. Type 0 if you honestly believe you never have. This is especially painful for those who feel like outsiders. If you have ever been called too quiet, too analytical, too much in your head, you know what I mean. Society celebrates quick reactions and confident opinions, not careful thought and honest uncertainty. The very traits that could lift you up the pyramid are the ones that make you feel like something is wrong with you. But nothing is wrong with you. You are trying to climb while everyone else sits at base camp. The second force is technology. If evolution made thinking hard, the digital world made it unnecessary. Social media is engineered to reward the lowest levels of cognition. Instant reaction, instant outrage, instant validation. Platforms profit when you operate at level 1. Analysis slows you down, evaluation breaks the emotional loop. A deep thought is bad for business. We have outsourced memory to cloud storage, understanding to influencers, curiosity to algorithms, creativity to AI. When calculators became common, arithmetic declined. When GPS became universal, navigation disappeared. What happens when we outsource thinking itself? We are finding out. The third force is identity. By adulthood, most beliefs are no longer cognitive. They are tribal. Once an idea becomes a part of who you are, you stop thinking about it. You defend it, justify it, repeat it, without questioning whether it is true. Here is the terrifying part. The smarter a person is, the better they become at justifying tribal beliefs. Intelligence does not automatically lift people up. Sometimes it traps them deeper, because they construct more elaborate reasons why they should not climb. Now let me show you what we all lose when society stays at the bottom, because the consequences are everywhere once you learn to see them. Political discourse has become a shouting match between people who do not understand the talking points they repeat. They memorize slogans but never analyze policies. Debates devolve into tribal warfare, where the goal is victory, not truth. Misinformation spreads faster than fact, because truth requires thinking, while falsehood only requires volume. Relationships suffer because people cannot tolerate different perspectives. Every disagreement becomes an identity threat. Conversations become performances. Everyone is talking, but no one is listening. Everyone has opinions, but no one has examined them. We are surrounded by people, yet profoundly alone in our unexamined certainties. And on a personal level, you lose something precious. You lose access to your own mind. You become a passenger in your consciousness, carried by cultural currents you never chose, believing thoughts you never actually thought, living a life designed by algorithms rather than intention. You become an echo, not a voice. But here is what changes everything. This is not permanent. The pyramid is not somewhere you reach and stay. It is a practice, a daily choice, a muscle that strengthens or atrophies. Some days you operate at level 6, other days you regress to level 1. The question is not whether you will fall. The question is whether you will climb again. Where are you watching this from right now? Type your country in the comments. United States, Canada, Australia, the Philippines, or anywhere else. I want to see how far this message travels, how many minds across the globe are ready to climb. Now here is where everything shifts. Everything I have told you so far has been the problem. What comes next is the solution, and I need you to pay close attention because these steps are not what you expect. So how do we actually rise? Here are the steps that work. And notice, these are not what you expect. They are not about consuming more information. They are about changing your relationship with your own mind. Step 1 is counterintuitive. You must slow down. In a world obsessed with speed, the most revolutionary thing you can do is pause. The mind cannot analyze when constantly reacting. It cannot create when endlessly distracted. Start small. Read something long enough for your mind to wander, then force it back. Sit with an idea for more than 10 seconds before judging. Notice the discomfort that arises when you are not stimulated, and sit with it anyway. Thinking begins where impulsivity ends. Step 2 is where most self-help gets it wrong. They tell you thinking is about insights, sudden flashes of brilliance. But higher order thinking is not genius. It is habit. It requires endurance, not brilliance. Choose books that challenge your worldview. Study ideas you do not immediately understand. Each time you push through mental discomfort, you strengthen the muscles necessary to climb. The burn means you are growing. Step 3 separates level 1 thinkers from everyone above, and this might be the most important shift of all. Low-level thinkers crave certainty. One explanation, one side. Higher cognition begins when you realize multiple truths can coexist. Learn to hold contradictions without collapsing into premature conclusions. Tolerate ambiguity without panic. If level 1 thinking is a straight line, levels 4 through 6 are a constellation, patterns that intertwine and sometimes beautifully conflict. Step 4 is the gatekeeper to everything above, intellectual humility. The greatest enemy of thinking is the illusion you already know enough. True thinkers share a quiet awareness of how little they understand. Humility opens doors, arrogance keeps locked. Practice assuming your first reaction is incomplete. Learn to say, I do not know yet, but I want to find out. Step 5 is where most people hesitate, and it is where the pyramid narrows dramatically. You must start creating. Creation is not just artistic, it is cognitive. Write down your thoughts, even if no one reads them. Explain ideas in your own words. Connect concepts others have not connected. Question things no one else is questioning. The act of creation, no matter how small, pulls you upward. Every original thought is a step higher on the pyramid. Step 6 transforms everything else. Develop metacognition. This is the shadow level, the one that governs all others. This is the ability to watch your mind in action, to notice when you react emotionally and ask why, to recognize when you defend an idea because it protects your identity rather than because it is true, to catch yourself mid-thought and examine what is really happening beneath the surface. Once you can think about your own thinking, the lower levels lose their power over you. The mind becomes both the watcher and the watched. And that is when real freedom begins. The top of the pyramid is not a destination, it is a direction. Nobody stays there permanently. You will rise and you will fall and you will rise again. Some days you create ideas that surprise yourself. Other days you regress to level 1, mindlessly scrolling. This is not failure. This is being human. The question is not whether you will fall. You will. The question is whether you will choose to climb again, whether you will treat each day as a new opportunity to rise one level higher than yesterday. Every moment you choose depth over speed, curiosity over certainty, reflection over reaction, you ascend. Every moment you resist easy answers and comfortable beliefs, you become something more. And here is the truth most never discover. When one mind climbs, it changes everyone connected to it. Your clarity becomes a light, guiding others upward. Your questions give others permission to question. Your willingness to think becomes contagious in a world starving for depth. In a world trapped at the bottom, choosing to think for yourself is a quiet revolution, an act of courage in an age of conformity, the decision to become the author of your mind rather than the echo of someone else's voice. The highest level of thinking is not about being smartest in the room. It is this, to hold your mind in your hands like something precious, to examine it with honesty, to reshape it with intention, and create from it a life that is truly your own. The pyramid is waiting, the path is difficult, the climb is uncomfortable, but at the top is something the bottom can never offer. Freedom, real freedom. The freedom to think thoughts no one handed to you. The freedom to become who you were always meant to be. You are capable of climbing. You always were. The question is whether you will begin. Will you climb? If this made you think differently, subscribe and share it with someone who needs to hear this. The revolution starts one mind at a time.